It is now time for this month's Monday Motivations with spiritual life coach Leigh Hurst, and today we are talking about the impact words can have within relationships. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Katie. This is a topic.
It is a topic, especially because you were saying that the reason why you wanted to talk about it today is because it's coming up a lot in your practice.
It is coming up so much of people just kind of coming in and things about the holidays coming up and that worry of having to see Uncle Sam, or I shouldn't say Uncle Sam, Samson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, going and having those things be a trigger, and then talking about, you know, one of the things that's really being talked about right now is, are words violent? Can words be violent?
Yes, interesting. And then the question then is like, do you mean physically or emotionally? Obviously, physically,
Right.
probably not, but emotionally, absolutely.
Right.
There are things that I still hold on to, you know, that were said to me in high school. That
how do
even
we
though
get
I've
rid of
moved
those?
on and I'm okay, doesn't mean I can't recall them and remember being upset by them.
Or have something trigger you into that, maybe with a song or even a Christmas, I'll say Christmas carol,
Yeah.
but any of the ornaments
Sure.
for the Christmas trees, things like that. And so how do we breathe? I can even feel it in my body telling you about words being violent, you know, or carrying some violence, carrying some weight to them.
Yeah.
How do we move past those or recognize when it's coming up in the body?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, so many times we know that our body holds on to memory and stuff, and so that's why I think we have a lot of those physiological reactions to words. I think one of the things that's really interesting is a lot of the times that comes up within my own relationship is intent versus how it's received, right? So there are two people in every dialogue, right, at least, and you got the person who said something. In my case, a lot of the times with my husband, it's when we've had an argument and I say I'm sorry, and he doesn't receive the I'm sorry because I haven't said it in a tone that he feels was genuine, right? And so we have to have this argument where, for me, I take words at very face value. I don't read into tone a lot. You say what you mean and mean what you say, and he does very much care about tone. So I then have to apologize for how how it is received, because even if it wasn't my intention, it still hurt him.
Yeah.
And that's where I think we have to be very mindful of our words.
And it's the energy behind it, because a lot of times people who are a bit more sensitive, empathic, I can include myself in that, we can feel things so much deeper than the average person. And so we can feel when it's genuine. We can feel if somebody's just saying it to get to the next spot. Can we just say it and get over it?
Absolutely.
You know, so a lot of people feel things differently. And how do we measure that energy or come to an agreement where everything feels right for everybody in the situation?
Yeah.
I love the idea that you said, the intent behind it. Intentions to me are everything.
Yeah, they
What
are.
is the intention of this food on my plate? Right? Where did it come from? I set the intention to send blessings and energy that everybody who created this meal on my plate. You know, intentions, is it part prayer? Is it part thought process? What is it? So when we're talking about arguments or words as violence or anything like that, what is the intent behind it? And so I love the awareness and the mindfulness that you do of, oh, I said I'm sorry, but there needs to be more, should we say energy behind it?
Yeah.
Or feeling,
Yeah,
emotion?
absolutely. There should be more emotion behind it, and that's where, you know, for my husband and I, we just, our upbringings are very different. He comes from a very empathetic, emotional family, and I come from a very rigid military family, right? And so with that, we have to work through it a lot of the times, and we sometimes have to sit in the ick for a bit, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, this isn't something that we can just brush off to the side, like we really got to dive in. We each have to hear each other's piece, and then we have to figure out in that argument, what is the lesson we're going to take away in the hopes that we don't have to have this argument again. But I think it's really hard. And anybody who says that, you know, words don't hurt, you know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I mean, that's the biggest laugh from hell, right? So it's like, let's just acknowledge that, right? Like, that is not true. Words do hurt. Your words can hurt. And yes, sometimes people are maybe overly sensitive about it and stuff, you know, but that's the flip side of it. You have to be willing to have a conversation from both angles.
And so with the holidays coming up, what are some of the things that we can do, right? We can recognize when we're having expectations. You know, when I go to this holiday party, my boss better apologize to me for this or that.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on with your boss, your coworkers,
Yeah.
your family, different things like that. And so what can we do? What are some of the things that we can do? We can set an intention before we walk in that door.
Yeah.
I now set the intention to not be so sensitive when, you know, Aunt Dawn criticizes my blouse.
Yeah. Right.
I now set the intention to breathe a little bit more and breathe into my belly and expand my ribs and shake that off.
Yeah.
You know, and shake that off. So there's different things we can do. We can choose not to attend.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
So
can
those are a
choose
big
not
one,
to
yeah.
go. You know, but just being mindful of what situations that we're putting ourselves into.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you are, you know, in charge of your own words. So hopefully that means that if maybe you are the instigator in relationships and stuff like that, you're more mindful about what you say. Try not to poke the bear as much this holiday season. Everyone's stressed out enough and everything. So all of that to say is words definitely do have an impact on all of our relationships. So as always, Leigh, a wonderful conversation. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.